and Bucks in Milwaukee for Game 2 of this series. We've got the Celtics Nets up on the screen there, just in case you forgot what that spread is. Celtics -3.5 tonight. We'll check in on the Bucks and Bulls here. Bucks laying 10. Total here is 225. The Bucks won Game 1, but they did not cover that 10-point spread that was also the spread in Game 1. Milwaukee got off to an early lead, but then really kind of opened the door for Chicago to climb back in the second half before the Bucks ultimately closed that door again and got the win. A lot of different angles that we are looking at between the three of us in tonight's game. Chris, why don't you start us off?
Yeah, as far as that graphic goes, I think our the producer Allie knew that. So I just spilled water all over myself as soon as the graphic came up, which is really tough.
For you.
Yeah, I mean it's really tough on a show because now I have to wait to dry it off until this show's over. But anyway, thank you, Allie, for cutting me off there. That was great. So the first thing that I thought after that first game, with the Bulls and the Bucks, is like, wait a minute, this isn't supposed to be what was supposed to happen here, right? We I think pretty much across the board, most people would agree that the Bucks are a much better team than the Bulls in pretty much every facet of the game. And this was a Bulls team that they got really close there at the end, right? It was a 1-point game with 10 minutes left. It was a 1-point game in the final minute and some change. And the Bucks kind of had to muster some magic there at the end to gain margin again. But what you saw in that game too was interesting because the Bucks just kind of started slow. It looked like the week off for both of these teams really affected them. Just the offensive efficiency was bad. And the Bucks can't be happy with how they finished that game, right? So I just expect basically regression from what we expect from these two teams, which is the Bucks are just a much better team than the Bulls, again, in really every facet of the game. We see how the Bucks can step up their defense when they need to. Lord knows the Bulls have not been very good in that category. As far as the offense of the Bucks go, I mean, they were really clumsy in the first half, and they still had a 13-point lead and an 8-point at the first quarter and an 8-point lead at the first half. So, I mean, I just think that Giannis is going to come into this game. He's going to want to bully around the Bulls. He's going to be more aggressive. I expect them to get in a rhythm a lot quicker. And it just, sets up really well for the Bucks after that kind of scary finish to that game to come out in this one hot. I like the Bucks at -6 in the first half. I like them full game. I like them first quarter, though. I like them in pretty much every possible way because, again, power ratings wise, right? At the end of the day, this is all about numbers. For any series in this opening round of the playoffs, this is some of the most disparity that I have between two teams. So game to game, I'm going to look at ways to bet the Bucks. And I think a lot of things kind of just went awry in that one. The Bulls are a second half team, and we've seen them come back. So by the chance that the Bulls do that again, I'll avoid the full game at a big number, but I still think -6 is very reasonable.
I think -6 is reasonable. I think -3.5 in the first quarter is pretty reasonable, which is what I'm going to play. Bucks are a really good first quarter team despite what they showed in Game 1. Their last 10 games at Pfizer Forum, they're 7-3 against the spread in the first quarter. They have the second best first quarter net rating in the league, while the Bulls rank 18th in first quarter net rating. Also like the Bucks in the spot, coming off kind of a poor showing. They blew that lead down the stretch, nearly cost them the game. So I think we're going to get a Bucks team that comes out with a ton of energy early on and is ready to go. I also am going to play the Bucks team total over 117.5. 17.5 would have been fantastic. We could just chalk that up as a win. But I like this over 117.5. It might seem kind of like a massive number after they only put up 93 points in Game 1, but that was pretty uncharacteristic of Milwaukee, and a number of factors really contributed to that low-scoring game, and I don't see those factors repeating themselves tonight. I mean, the Bucks had 21 turnovers. They shot 26% from three, just 65% from the free throw line. So really that low output in Game 1 wasn't a factor necessarily of the Bulls playing great defense, but more so of the Bucks turning the ball over, not shooting well, and leaving a ton of points at the line. So if they turn those things around tonight, which I fully expect them to do, I think this number can get up pretty high for the Bucks. They've also gone over this number in 3 of their 4 regular season games against Chicago this season. So I am going to play the Bucks team total over 117.5 and the first quarter -3.5. Josh, you also have a couple angles on this game. Tell us what you like.
Yeah, joining you guys entirely, really. I think it's Bucks hammer time in a situation like this. I was on the Bulls in game one, basically just because it's what Mike Budenholzer does. The Bucks rather just don't cover game one of a series, especially at home for whatever reason. They seem to be really sluggish, really sloppy. They don't execute particularly well. And then, the script flips entirely every single time when they had a home series for game two. They come out and absolutely blow the door down. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen here tonight. I think he makes the adjustments that he sees from game one that are necessary. The team goes out and executes those adjustments at a very high level because you have a roster who have been together for so long and understand the intricacies that need to be done. And the outcome should be a really comfortable wire-to-wire Milwaukee win. And that's basically what I'm hoping for because, like you guys, I think first quarter, first half, and full game are all situations where Milwaukee dominate pretty much for the entire 48 minutes of this one. I think they come out aggressively and strong. Taking care of the basketball is going to be the priority for them offensively, and if they do that, then I think they're going to be efficient enough as well in scoring. You had pretty off nights from guys like Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday. That doesn't happen again, in my opinion. Giannis was still pretty effective and efficient, and the Bulls simply just have no answer for him whatsoever. There is no matchup that Chicago can try and scheme for that helps them limit the damage that Giannis is going to do pretty much on every possession that he gets the ball down the floor. So that in itself is one of those outliers where it's very rare in a series where someone can just be as dominant as he is. And obviously he's kind of a one-of-one specimen as it is. But when you look at Chicago's roster in particular, they just have defensive frailties, and particularly when it comes to dealing with wings with size that Giannis has inside. So, I think that Budenholzer as well with his rotations will get a little bit more creative. Again, it's something we see from him in game two, where game one, he sort of sticks to what you see in the regular season. Game two, we see things a little different. I think we see some Giannis running at the five for large periods here, and that will open up the floor, I think, in a big way for Milwaukee offensively, which is going to correlate pretty well as well for your team total, because that's when those shooters should find rhythm and should find the open looks they need. So ultimately, just completely on board with anything Milwaukee related here. First quarter, halftime, full game, team total, Bulls team total under, play it all. This is basically what Milwaukee has done in game twos under Mike Budenholzer.
And let's also not forget that the Bulls, yes, they covered the spread in game one, but they're not a great team against the top teams in the league. And Milwaukee is definitely one of the top teams in the league. So I kind of expect to see the same Bulls team that has faded against those top teams again tonight. So all three of us, a lot of plays in this game. We've got first quarter, first half, full game, team total. We've got it all covered.